Brady under center. A give to Burkett. Runs in left for the win! Touchdown, Patriots!
The Patriots Postgame Show, presented by Cybereason, with Hardy, Mike Dussault, and Paul Perillo, is your source for all the news and information following every Patriots game.
And the Patriots have won their 6th Super Bowl title. In the early 2000s, they won 3 of 4. Now they have won 3 of the last 5. Yes, it's still a dynasty.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
I hope y'all keep that same energy for tonight, baby. Can't wait.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Slipping and sliding, he was like a cat. Pop, pop, bang. Patriots get the win in Carolina today, as we all predicted, 24-6, albeit a little different than maybe we had anticipated. And welcome into the Patriots Postgame Show, presented by Cybereason. 855-PATS-500, webradio@patriots.com for your electronic mails. 24-6 the final. Deuce, your initial thoughts after the game?
Really impressed with the defense. Just I mean, aside from the 3 picks, just the energy that they brought. I think it was kind of clear from the get-go that they meant business today. Christian Barmore particularly disruptive up front, giving the Carolina offense all they could handle. Certainly a lot of penalties. I think that helped and hurt both teams, and injuries as well playing a significant part of it. But I think at the end of the day, the defense showed up and really played probably their best game of the season. All that other stuff aside, I think it was a really good effort from them.
Paul?
I would agree with Mike. I don't think there's really much else to talk about other than that defense. I think the Patriots were as dominant today. It was reminiscent of some of those games a few years ago against the overmatched offenses that couldn't do anything against them, and they really, really took it to Carolina today. And I know that Carolina's not great. Oh, my God. Red Zone Paul chiming in early on. The Falcons are at the 10-yard line, and they had to run a play, and they fumbled. I think they may have gotten it back. Oh, they did. But they blew a 24-6 lead in the fourth quarter, Hardy.
Yeah.
And they threw a bomb to Cordero Patterson down the sideline to get down to, I think, the 11-yard line.
I saw that.
And they're trying not to score, and I believe the guy fumbles.
They're just trying to run off
They're
some
just
clock
trying to run clock to kick a field goal to end the game.
Right, a game-winning field goal.
But I think the Falcons recovered it. But I would just reiterate what Mike said. Specifics I don't really have to get. I just thought it was as dominant a performance defensively as the Patriots have had in a long time. I mean, they just absolutely suffocated Sam Darnold and made him look exactly like he did that primetime game against the Jets.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Paul. It just was that, man, this kind of feels like early 2019. Nice to see that kind of performance in November, because that's what you didn't get out of that defense. They faded down the stretch. Maybe this is a sign of what's to come with this defense, and that they continue to build on
Other
this.
than that, I would just ask if someone could give him that last 3 hours back.
Yeah, it was not an entertaining game to watch, and you say there's not a lot to talk about. If you want to stay positive and talk about the fact that the Pats are now above 500 on the season, which they are, they moved to 5-4. The team is in a great place. They've won 3 in a row. These are all positive things, but if you want to talk about things in a positive sense, it's all like big picture stuff in terms of where they are, where they came from, how the defense looked, because beyond that, offensively, this team struggled today in a way that is it just turns the stomach to watch them committing penalties early on in the game, to watch them, not be able to get any kind of a rhythm going. And, we talked about the Panthers defense before the game. We talked about how good they were against the pass, but and which, forced the Patriots to run the ball a little bit. But, just whether it was a 3-and-out, whether it was just some uninspired play calling or just the inability to move the chains, offensively, I think there are questions now for this team going forward. And if you want to continue this trend, if you want to make it 4 in a row, 5 in a row, you really want to start having a meaningful discussion about being a playoff caliber team, the issues on the offense are going to have to be addressed.
Yeah, and, I asked Mike, in the middle of the fourth quarter, and, I actually, in full disclosure, I said to Mike, I wasn't really going to talk about this on the air because it wasn't meant to be anything that we needed to talk about on the air long term. But I did ask Mike, do you have any concerns about Mac at this point? Because it's been a couple of games now. I thought the first half against the Jets, he was a little bit off target. I thought he looked sort of unsettled throughout the game against the Chargers. And I think today, again, not without a couple of plays here and there. I thought he made a terrific throw on a crossing route to Hunter Henry early to convert a third down. Really nice throw down the sideline to Bolden to convert a third down to kickstart the 2-minute drill on the last drive of the first half. And the touchdown throw to end that to Henry was a nice throw, but they're few and far between. I will say this. I had some questions about the Panthers defense coming in. They're legit. They came as advertised. That's a swarming, fast, hard-hitting defense. And the Patriots were every bit as ineffective offensively as the Panthers were.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can get into the good, the bad, and the training room to expound upon these things before I jump into a rant.
All right. Well, let's do that.
We have a rant coming.
Not a rant.
All right. Good. Good. Let's hear it.
I wish I had a napkin.
Now it's time for the good.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
The bad.
If you were in my toilet bowl, I wouldn't bother flushing it.
And the training room.
You want a back rub?
Presented by Theragun.
Good, the bad, and the training room presented by Theragun. We do it every week after the game. We'll start with the good. Paul, why don't you start us off with your first good, huh?
Okay. I'm going to just go front seven specifically. I'm going to talk about Christian Barmore first because I thought he was really a big part of this game early on. I thought his ability to disrupt the passing lanes a little bit. I think he saved a touchdown early in the game with one of the knockdowns. Buffalo, by the way, is poised. They're going to lose to Jacksonville.
9-6.
The knockdown on that pass, McCaffrey was wide open, and that was after, I think, the strip sack fumble. I thought Barmore was really active early on in this game. He can't be blocked by one guy. I think that he is a guy that's really transformed that front seven. I think this transformation of the defense can be traced back to him. I think since he started to play, Fred, you listening? When the young guys started to play a little bit more, you're finding out that he's better than the guys that were playing.
Yep.
And I think he'd be the one guy that I would pick out. But the front seven today, absolutely dominant.
Yeah. Outstanding.
Yeah, I agree. And, Kyle Van Noy, credit to him getting a hand on a pass, too. Just disruptive. I think that it just jumps out at you. You can tell when they're playing well, when they're playing with energy. And Paul's right. Barmore bringing it. He pass defense, two, getting his hands up, deflecting those. Another impressive effort for him. He's continuing each week to show up. And not just here and there, but I think in key spots, in big moments, he seems to make plays, and it's just it's been exactly what this defense has needed. He's been great.
All right, Deuce, first up on your good list.
Not a lot to work with on offense, but I'm going to throw Ramondre Stevenson in there. It's just
he jump-started things.
Really, exactly how I put it in my write-up, just jump-started things, 10.62, 6.2 per carry. Also had a big catch there, the little dump-off that 41-yarder. That felt like that was the play that they came out, they were getting penalties, there were turnovers, and after that, he got them sparked. They went down, they scored. But I think it was a real nice game for him. Unfortunate to see him sustain a head injury there at the end. Hopefully he's okay because you'd love to see him be able to build on this. I think it just shows when you have two guys that can be effective, it's just a huge bonus for the offense. And let's face it, today they needed it. They didn't have it in the passing game today. They needed somebody to step up, and Stevenson gave them that spark.
We started with the front seven. I'll go with the secondary specifically. I mean, just 3 picks for the team. And even though, they were into the hands of on at least one of those. Jamie Collins' interception there at the line.
I agree, Hardy.
What that thing was, that's special. And, you look at it, from a side angle, which I have yet to see, but I think that's where it's going to be the most impressive. To get your hands up, you're really just trying to block the ball. But, you think, a ball hits you in the hands, that's what you're supposed to do. No, it's ridiculous to think you're actually going to come down with that ball.
He got high in the air and made an incredible catch.
Yeah.
Like that, to me, is a special play.
So, I'll give him credit for that. But really in the secondary, and J.C. Jackson with 2 picks today, it was a defensive effort. The stories about the defense today, I think, for the Patriots. So we could probably do all facets, but I'll do a slash, interceptions and then slash secondary because, Collins is at the line for his, and, we're going to separate him from the secondary on that. But no, that was a special moment. Paul?
Me again?
Yeah.
I had Miles Bryant, who Mike was talking about throughout the game.
Yeah.
I thought there was the hit on DJ Moore is just kind of, I think, indicative of how he plays. He's always around the ball, and he's very physical and makes plays. He's going to be tough to get out of the lineup. I think he's a pretty scrappy player. He's in that Jonathan Jones mold. I think the size, sort of his mobility. I like him.
He's tough. He's quick.
I don't know.
He's cheap.
I'm not a football coach. I don't know exactly, what to tell you that he does that I, think is special. But I think he always seems to show up.
Yep.
Always around the ball. Always making plays.
Yep. Delivering hard hits.
You're reminding me of the movie Soap Dish.
Yeah.
When Gary Marshall's explaining why he hates the new set, he says it's expensive and it's depressing. I don't like that. You know what I like? I like peppy and cheap. Peppy and cheap. Those are my two things that I like.
Dish.
Yeah, I mean, not to get off topic, but I mean, nothing against, Jonathan Jones. I think he's been excellent, but, he's a pretty expensive guy next year. And you look, is that kind of a swap that you look to make? Or, maybe he'll play ball with salary, but just something to look at with Miles Bryant. Young guy, like I said, he's cheap, not costing you a lot. Could be some kind of move being made there.
All right. Deuce, what else you got on your good list?
A little bit of tough pickings now going down as we've covered it, but I am going to throw Hunter Henry on there. Just, it wasn't a lot in the passing game, but I think there were a couple key plays, and he continues to be kind of the guy, other than Jacoby Myers, who really, didn't have a great game, was kind of taken out of things. But I thought Hunter Henry, third down catch, touchdown catch, a couple critical plays. But, after that, when you're trying to find guys in the passing game, it's a little tough to do, but I think Hunter Henry, he just continues to show up. It might not be overwhelming production, but in key spots here and there, I think he's doing enough to help the team win games, and I think that's a lot to be said for that, considering the day overall that they had through the air.
I got no problem putting him on the good list today because it is slim pickings. If you want to stick someone on there offensively, why don't we just go ahead with Nick Folk, perpetual, good list guy. Asterisk. Asterisk. Asterisk.
Can you do it on days when he's perfect?
Okay, listen to me for a second. Do you take extra points for granted anymore?
I've always taken extra points for granted.
All right, forget I asked you. Deuce, do you still take extra points for granted in this league?
Not really. Not really.
No, you can't.
I kind of stress a little
3
bit.
for 3
Yeah.
on his extra points. And the field goal that he did make today, what was it, a 50-yarder?
Did I miss the game?
What?
He missed a field goal today. You know that, right?
Yeah, but he made one. The one that he made was...
Certain distance.
What was the distance?
37 yards.
Oh, 37. All right, it wasn't as long as I thought.
And by the way, I think it was a terrible... Well, we'll get to that later.
No. What?
No, it's in the bad list.
Oh, okay. All right. He's got an asterisk next to his name today, okay? But offensively, we're struggling to come up with much to put on the good list.
I would say Bolden made some plays.
Yeah,
Bolden
that's a good one.
Again
That's
today.
a good one.
But, I mean, there was nothing good offensively today. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, you had Henry for his touchdown. Fine. Yeah. I don't think they did anything. I mean, they had 270 yards, and the Panthers had like 230 yards. Like, there was no offense in this game.
Bourne had a nice...
273 to 240.
Oh.
Like, there was no offense in this game.
Nope.
No. Yeah, it's not a lot to talk about offensively. Is there anything else defensively we want to put on the good list? Anything coaching-wise you want to put on the good list today? I mean, I suppose we could factor in some of the scheming and coaching. Deuce, this is really more your area. I don't know if you saw anything specifically that they did, preparation-wise to make them look that good against the Panthers.
Yeah, a slight nod. I think
we're quick to call it out offensively when we think the coaching is bad. I don't think we do enough defensively.
I think it shows just defensively they're starting to lean into some things that work, and I think that it's Barmore, it's Miles Bryant. Some of these younger guys are starting to show up, but. I thought they were ready to go today, and we've talked a lot about the secondary, DJ Moore, those kind of challenges that they were presented with today. I think defensively they did a pretty good job, but otherwise I think that you guys kind of covered it with the goods. It was a lot of defense and turnovers and takeaways, but not a lot of moving the ball.
All right, on to the bad list, Paul.
Bad list was just the start. Yep. I thought they were disjointed and mistake-prone at the beginning. You had 4 penalties in the first quarter, including false starts, delay a game.
Delay a game coming out of a commercial.
Stuff that you just can't have. First play of the second series after a punt, you get a delay a game. That's just
how does that happen?
Terrible.
It's
coaching. It's bad. It's bad. I mean, it can't happen. Absolutely cannot happen.
How does it happen?
I thought 4th and 1 from the 45 was an opportunity to go for it early in the game. They didn't. Then they punt. They get a okay, we'll go to him before we get into this then.
All right, let us go to our player after the game, after the big 24-6 win over the Panthers in Carolina. David Andrews, you're on with Hardy and Mike Dussault and Paul Perillo. What's up, David?
Hey, guys, how are you doing?
Excellent. Congratulations on the win today.
Sorry, thank you. Appreciate it. Yep.
Hey, David, how'd it feel just to go down there on the road, play a tough defensive front and pull out the win there?
Yeah, it was a good defense. I thought they did a lot of things well. We obviously did some things at the beginning of the game to really hurt ourselves and, put ourselves in some bad positions, penalties, miscommunication, things like that. So we got to clean up that. But it was good to come down here on the road against a good defense and get a win.
Really physical game, it seemed, David. You guys were able to take some of their punches and punch back a little bit in the run game. I thought Stevenson really gave you guys a lift when he came into the game. Did you guys feel a sort of sense of change there, running the ball there in the second quarter?
Yeah, I think, for the most part, when we was behind the downs, down distance, penalties, sacks, things like that, then it's hard to run the ball. I think when we're able to stay ahead on down and distance, play balance, play how we want to, obviously, I think we did that for a couple drives and, obviously had success and scored. So, that's got to be our formula, and we can't hurt ourselves.
Does it change your mindset at all once you realize, like at a certain point into the game, this is going to be a run game today, and we're going to be tasked with run blocking as opposed to pass protection? Does it change the way, like, how you feel about the game in general?
No, I think I like to do whatever we are having success at. And,
yeah.
Sometimes, being able to be a physical team, run the football, take control of the game, makes you feel good. And, I think we have a great group of backs. Thought they did a great job today, running physical, running tough. So, but whatever's called, we're going to try to go out there and execute.
David, you guys had a little bit of a slow start there with the penalties, the turnovers. It's happened before this season. Could you just speak to the mindset of the team? When you have a slow start, how do you bounce back there at the end of the first half? You're able to, put together a 10-play drive and get that touchdown and bounce back.
Well, look, you never want to start like that, right? But take the positive out of it. I think we showed some mental toughness today to kind of say, all right, first quarter, we're going to flush that. We're going to start over here and, really get going and play the game how we want to play. So, obviously, you don't want to start like that and can't start like that a lot. But I think we showed some mental toughness today to really get going and kind of flush it and move forward.
All right, Dave. Well, we're not going to keep you on the phone like you do when you have to call into my other show into Zolak and Bertrand, which is insufferable. I feel bad for you. Talking to Zoe.
Thanks, Hardy. Hardy, I appreciate that.
You know what, man? It's just, I know he tries to, buddy up. It's like, David, let's you and I real talk football. We're not going to do it. We're going to say congratulations, and we're going to say goodbye. How's that?
Go our separate ways.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks.
Congrats, David.
See ya. All right, there
Thanks,
he goes.
Guys. Have a good one.
All right, you
You too.
too.
Bye-bye.
David Andrews there.
I was going to suck up and say, hey, David, Hardy asked me if I had another question. I just figured you'd want to go home, too.
David and I did something for the Oakers Company a couple of years ago, and he is like one of the more genuine and approachable
Terrific kid.
and friendly guys, just to it just felt like you could talk to him all day, and it wasn't forced, and he didn't, of course he's being forced to be there. He is not going to saunter in and sit up on a stool on a little stage and hold his little microphone and answer a question. You wouldn't know it from his demeanor.
Yeah.
He's just a good guy. So
Great guy.
glad we could do him a solid and let him be.
Yeah, and he really touched upon the thing I was sort of talking about for my first bat. It just was that overall, whatever it was at the beginning of the game, it just wasn't right. It wasn't good enough. The penalties, the decisions. I thought, the sequence there, the 4th and 1 from their own 45, they choose to, and this was after I thought Jacoby Myers bobbled a really easy catch, which prevented him from getting the first down in the first place.
Yep.
And then they go for it. They go for the punt and they get a touchback. I just felt like the whole start was just not what you're looking for.
No. And, we're talking about a day where Mac Jones was 12 of 18. What were his final numbers? 136 yards?
12 of 18
139.
for 139.
Yeah, he was not good.
139.
2 sacks.
I shouldn't say he wasn't good. The offense was not good today.
Right.
It was exactly what David Andrews said. They overcame their, and they showed some mental toughness, and they flushed it. We flushed it.
Yeah.
I think they did. And they were able to make enough plays, and, I was on this 4th and 1 play that they didn't go for early. Bill probably recognized that it was going to be the kind of game that it was and didn't need to make any chances, didn't need to create field position because he was going to get more opportunities, and that's exactly how it unfolded. So in that regard, maybe, it ended up working out. But the penalties, I think 4 penalties in the first quarter, turnovers, 2 of them again, giving the Panthers free points.
Yeah.
Just a sloppy start.
Yeah, you're lucky the defense came to play like they did today because
Dominant.
I think, that offset, 2 turnovers, they only gave up 6 points off of those 2. But, and then, the second half, it's hard to even really evaluate the offense because of the interceptions. It was just, those were largely what the game was after the first half. So I did like that response drive at the end of the first half that they were able to string it together,
That
which
was
is
the
what
game.
they do.
That was game.
And then that was kind of it.
Yeah.
Deuce, if you recall, I said they get in here.
You
This
do.
game's
I
over.
know.
Yeah.
Your positivity, it's just I
The
wish
nod,
I wish
the
I
nod
wish
was
I
given at
shared it.
14-6.
I'm still
It was
nervous
an
at
early nod.
24-6 when they're kneeling on the ball and don't fumble it.
But I tell you what, I don't want to get too hung up in the numbers, whether it's for Mac Jones or for the offense in general. Josh Allen completed 31 passes today. The Bills scored 6 points. So let's not get too hung up on it. But you know what you saw with your eyes, and it's mostly for me. It's about the penalties, and it's about the seemingly the struggles they have with getting some kind of a rhythm going on offense. And that's
Right. And they did. They only scored 17 points. So that's really not much difference.
Yeah.
Listen, Carolina's a better defense than Jacksonville. I'm not trying to say anything like that. Buffalo clearly didn't come to play.
Yeah.
And when you don't come to play at all, you're going to lose. Now, the Patriots, I think, were fortunate that the Panthers didn't come to play today either. Sam Darnold threw a lot of passes to Patriots today. Whether it be into the line or, actually to J.C. Jackson twice.
Yep.
So they were fortunate that the team that they were playing today was worse than they were, and the Patriots got their footing. I really think that the way that David Andrews described it was very accurate. They flushed a really bad start, but they got themselves in a situation where they could have gotten themselves in trouble today.
Yeah.
You think Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts?
No, I think he was just terrible. The pick six that ultimately ended the game. It's 14-6, and the Panthers have a good drive going. He made a nice play to avoid a sack, gets out of the pocket, and had the Thomas, the 80 guy, the guy who got called for the penalty in the red zone earlier in the game, and he has him open here. He just has to flick it to him. It's an easy throw. He throws it 8 feet over his head, right to J.C. Jackson, who fair caught it and ran 80 yards for a touchdown. This is just bad. That's bad football, bad play. But I don't think it was because he misread the coverage or anything like that. I think he just made a bad play.
Do we have more specific bads we want to get to? We have a big training room list to get to today too.
I don't want to be unfair because I know he's dealing with a shoulder injury, but Jonnu Smith, I just it continues to feel like they're doing everything they can to try to make it work with him.
We understand your fixation with Jonnu Smith.
I know. Well, I think it's just disappointment because it seems like they continue to really game plan him into the thing, and it just nothing seeming to get it going. And a little bit frustrating. I think that's been kind of going on all year, but I don't want to call him out.
I would say pass protection. You get a couple of real breakdowns early in the game, and one of them results in a strip sack. And at some point, these passing off to it looks like they're wide. Situations where the rush is coming from the outside and they're not getting picked up by anybody. And it happened twice on both sides.
Yeah, I don't know what happened on that one they're showing right now, where it seemed
one
like
on the Onwenu side. Onwenu blocks him, and then he lets him go, and Mac Jones just got killed.
And it seemed like on that one, Henry's holding him up for a second, like he's waiting for the tackle to take over, and Wynn never really slides over. It just seems like miscommunication. Hard to say exactly what went wrong, but just not how it's supposed to look, and that is certainly not what's supposed to happen right there.
So I had pass protection, yeah.
Okay, pass protection is a good one. Let's get to the training room.
Well, and one thing that I didn't like, this is not necessarily a bad thing, but at the end of the game, the game is over. It's 24-6. They're trying to punt. It's 4th and 9. They get a false start penalty, and a neutral zone penalty that they drew with their fake counts that they got the Panthers because the Panthers did everything else stupid today. And then he goes for a 54-yard field goal that you don't need. And I'm thinking to myself, only bad things can happen here. You got a kicker who's been absolutely flawless all year. Why get it in his head that he missed his last one? on a kick that didn't mean a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sure enough, he pushed it to the right.
Well, maybe
now,
they just
hopefully,
wanted to break the streak.
hopefully, it won't matter. Hopefully, but you know how kickers can be. Sometimes it's a fickle thing. You miss one, and all of a sudden you're off your roll. I didn't like that call by Belichick.
I screwed something up. Matt, will we be able to splice this in later? I'm going to take care of Microsoft right here. I'm supposed to do this immediately after David Andrews joined us.
Oh, sorry.
Now Matt's not even listening to us. Matt has turned the show off, and he's all done.
He's on the revs now.
He's probably on the revs. He's working, guy.
He's got two shows going at once.
All right. I'm going to take care. No. I'm saying I screwed up. Can you splice in the Microsoft thing here? All right,
Absolutely can.
Okay, watch this. All right. So, David,
thanks, David.
Thanks, David. I wanted to get him off the phone, do him a solid.
Well, especially when you keep him all the time on your show.
That's all right. Hey, a big thank you to our partner, Microsoft Windows 11, the official operating system of the NFL and the New England Patriots. The all-new Windows 11 is here to bring you closer to what you love, like the Patriots Postgame show. Learn about all the awesome new features of Windows 11 at windows.com. David Andrews. What a guy.
Great guy.
Great guy.
Turkey hunter.
There we go.
I might need to bring him over to my house. I got turkey problems. Turkey's just roaming.
Is it a problem, or do you just have turkeys?
I don't know. I feel like I'd be like, hey,
there's a difference.
You like to hunt turkeys. Why don't you come sit in my backyard and you can shoot some of mine?
That is a good point. Yeah. Everybody has turkeys all over the place, but is it a turkey problem?
Is it a problem for you?
They don't really seem to bother anyone. Although I don't like to get too close to them.
No, they're scary. Little dinosaurs.
My dog was not a big dog. She'll run them off.
Yeah.
Right? And let me tell you something. They can fly.
Oh,
I know.
I've seen them up in trees, guy.
We had one in our house. Goes up in the tree every night.
One took off is 60 feet up in the tree.
Up in a tree.
She's a bird dog. Treat that bird.
I'm just offering David Andrews. He wants to go walk through the woods, or you could just sit in my backyard. The turkeys come to you.
How about a 3-game winning streak? First time over 500 since week 3 of 2020.
Yeah, first 3-game win streak since 2019. It's interesting though, Paul, because as you mentioned, it's certainly the defense. You want to feel good about how the defense played, but really it's a couple weeks in a row, and as you brought up with Mac and the offense, it's stagnated a little bit, and the mistakes are still kind of happening, and at some point they're going to have to kick into gear, stop slow starts, they had a couple weeks without slow starts, but just penalties, turnovers.
I'm wondering about the defense, if it really has sort of solidified and turned a corner. Because
I think that Cleveland rushing offense will put them to the test next week, at least as far as that aspect of the game.
That's an interesting game, and that's one of the few teams today that was very impressive is Cleveland with a good road win at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Boys, we got the training room to do still.
Yep.
Matt wants me to break. You guys are talking about the Browns.
Sorry.
We can break. We can go down it real quick.
Let's do them because it's unfortunate. Ramondre Stevenson went down. Looked like he got kicked in the head there, and he was out with a head injury. Then Damian Harris went out. He got popped too, and it looked like that was a head injury that it was announced as well. Gunner earlier got hit pretty bad. That was announced as another head injury. And then Jonnu Smith, as I mentioned, had a shoulder injury, something that's been on the injury report, so that might have flared up a little bit. But certainly running back, something to watch. Hate to see that happen to Stevenson after having a good game to kind of end it like this. So hopefully him and Harris are able to go because, after that, it's Brandon Bolden and J.J. Taylor, and that's it. So hopefully those guys are okay. Would love to hear some good news on them soon.
Yeah, that's going to be an issue with the backfield when they come in the same position. And the other thing I just throw in there that, Gunner, he was off to a good start again. He had two good punt returns, 18 and 17-yarders, but he also fumbled and was fortunate enough to recover it. And the decision to come out 5 yards deep in the end zone, and he got lit up, and that's –
yeah, but that happens. That's part of the position, and sometimes coming out. I agree. It doesn't make the decision.
It was a bad decision to take it out. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
but decisions with him is, I think, come into question sometimes.
Yeah, but he was busting loose last week. The kid's feeling it right now. What do you want?
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse because he runs with reckless abandon, and that helps him get through some stuff. But yeah. I agree with Paul. I think he's, I think he lives on the edge. And today
I had him trending on my good list.
It's the position.
I know it is, but he plays it even more with I'm worried he's going to get killed every single time.
You are annoying me today. I don't know what it is.
Because he recovered the fumble. Like if he doesn't recover the fumble, I think you look at some of those reckless decisions a little differently.
I give the kid a pass. I like him.
Well,
I did not like the way.
You pretend the kicker made all his kicks.
I did not. I said there was an asterisk. Maybe you missed that part.
I don't know. You've been away a long time. Maybe you missed that.
Maybe you missed that. Maybe no one went up there and told you no more shines. Yeah, I did not like the way he looked when he tried to stand up.
No.
Oh, no. That was...
No, and that's the thing about the head injuries. It's tough. I mean, Darnold was able to play. Maybe that had something to do with it today.
Maybe it did. And, so for the guys who went out with the head today, with Gunner, with Harris, maybe they're back at practice on Thursday. You don't know.
I hope so.
Might be weeks. We don't know. So keep your fingers crossed. I tell you what, though, for anything else, if it's a deep tissue issue, Theragun. I am loving my Theragun Mini so much.
I agree.
That thing
I'm
is
glad that
legit.
makes me happy.
I am so happy with that thing. And it's the only physician creative percussive device. Look, there are other. It's so much more than a massager or something like that. No, this is a doctor invented device, and it gets in to relieve the deep muscle tensions and the aches. And the reason why is they used scientifically calibrated combination, depth, speed, and power. Thomas Dolby, right?
Correct.
250 professional sports teams. And it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to Therabody.com to get your Theragun today, starting at just $199. More of the Patriots postgame show coming up.
TouchView Interactive is here to support your hybrid learning, distance learning, and video conferencing needs with easy-to-use tools that allow end users to collaborate, interact, and present seamlessly. TouchView Interactive offers a comprehensive line of accessories and software to support your audio-visual needs. Outfit your classrooms and presentation spaces with the future of interactive display technology. Visit touchview.com for more info. Offered by the Oakers Company, celebrating 100 years of service and support.
That looks awful. Football's back and it's time to go big. Pepsi pulled pork sandwiches are game day greatness. Now we're ready for game day. Check out some more awesome recipes on madeforpatriotswatching.com.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
By the way, they show the guy blowing the big Viking horn. Does he really do it, brother?
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Boy, I sounded stuffed up last week.
You were. I heard you on the radio this week. You sounded very sick.
Deuce was.
I'm gonna send you
Deuce
some
was
chicken
a little
noodle
concerned
soup.
about you.
No,
Send you
I'm
some
fine.
soup and
I'm fine, dude. I tell you what, I'm keeping that COVID at-home rapid test company in business.
Oh, isn't that great though? I
Yeah,
mean, it's
I'm
just
not
so
stop-
much easier now. Like,
Yeah.
I got to go wait 4 hours in line to get a COVID. It's like pop over to CVS.
But there's 2 in a box. We bought 3 so far.
$20 a pop, right?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
but
60
it's
bones.
so much.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
peace of mind.
Yeah, and whatever. It's not a commercial for them. I'm just
Our own
saying.
little conversation.
We were all sick in the house this week, and we were all tested, and we're all good.
Oh, I feel lightheaded.
Is it odd for me to say that I miss Fred on the away games? I like it when Fred's here.
Very much so.
The donuts don't miss them. No.
Let's no. I almost grabbed another one. I'm like, nah, Matt's probably taking those home to his daughter. I'll leave him alone. All right, let's go to the phones here. We'll start with Steve in Peabody. I wonder if this is Steve St. Amand, my buddy, former mailman in Peabody. Is this you, Steve?
No, I'm not a mailman.
Oh. All right, letter carrier. Pardon me.
What kind of man are you?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of man are you then, Steve?
I'm an American.
Oh. Great answer. Yeah. The call can only go down from here, but let's do it anyway.
So, did you guys have Hightower on the bad list?
No. He just kind of.
I didn't have anything defensively on the bad list today.
He blew that coverage early with McCaffrey, and there was a couple other times where he was trying to cover McCaffrey, and he was just completely outmatched.
I could have sworn I saw Judon moving him out of the way one time so he could get after Darnold. Like, would you excuse me? I'm trying to put some pressure on the quarterback here.
Yeah.
But no, I'm with Paul. No one on the defense goes on the bad list today. The defense was outstanding.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing, too, is, like, do you really expect him to cover Christian McCaffrey in space? I mean, it's just not what he's meant to do.
No, but my problems with him today.
Yeah, that's fair.
My problems with him today had nothing to do with McCaffrey. He just was all out of sorts all day. I thought he was behind plays, chasing, run plays. Chuba Hubbard one play. He looked like he went around him, and then I don't know. He just, to me, I know that everybody tells me he blows up guards and stuff like that, and maybe he did. Maybe that's what he was doing today because the run defense was outstanding. The Panthers had more 1- and 2-yard runs today than I could count.
I'll let you know tomorrow after Michael Hurley tweets out a couple of videos of Hightower blowing up a guard, knocking him 4 lines off the line of scrimmage. Honestly, that's all it takes to sway me sometimes. Like, look at him, he's awesome.
That play with the guard last week was so ridiculous. Like, the guard wasn't even looking at him, and he blocks down and knocks him knocked him down. Impressive. Well, what about the 75-yard run that he allowed? I just couldn't understand it.
Yeah, I do think there's,
and that one made the rounds, man.
Yeah, I hear both sides of it. Yeah. I see the side of it where he's doing stuff that, doing the dirty work and taking on that kind of stuff. But I also think, it's the same thing. It always is, and I think that's a limitation of their scheme. When those guys, whether it's Bentley, whether it's him, whether it's Van Noy, they get stuck, trying to run through the flat and cover a running back. It's not their jam. So. We'll see.
Deuce calling out the coaches.
Oh. Steve, thanks.
Limitations with their scheme.
What's that,
Just
Steve?
one more thing real quick. Do you think they're using too much play action with Matt? It doesn't seem effective.
I just think they're struggling right now to get things going offensively. I don't think it was great last week. I don't think it was great this week. They'll work through it. I think some of it, is some teams are figuring out the things that the Patriots like to do offensively, and they're going to have to find out some other things to do.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Isn't play action what you have a tendency to see when things are not working well, and you resort to play action as a means to try and get some rhythm going and try and get some ball movement? Seems to me we saw.
I mean, I always view play action as just a simple function of we're able to run the ball, and now let's hit them, and it has to be. Everything's got to be kind of working together for it to work. You need to, have the linebackers bite. You need to spring it at the right time. It's a unique thing. I don't know. It's hard to, in and of itself, it's hard to just judge as how was the play action game today. I think it's all kind of connected.
I agree with Mike. I think that you can run play action. It doesn't necessarily have to be predicated on how well you're running, but I think it's like pretty much a staple part of what you want to do. You want to try to affect the linebackers and open up some throwing lanes.
Let's go to Johnny in Wisconsin, who's
Johnny.
And the Packers scoreless against the Chiefs. No Aaron Rodgers.
No Aaron Rodgers. They got Jordan Love out there, and he's not looking too good so far.
He did not look good in that first drive.
Oh, man.
I'll tell you who does look good, though, is Darrell Williams. He's running the ball with some anger on this first drive.
Angry.
With evil intentions on this first drive.
That's the way they're going to have to win is put the ball on the ground, I think, today. But they got Kansas City, so I don't know.
All right. Yeah. What do you got for us on the Pats, Johnny?
Well, I got Jamie Collins. I was really wicked impressed with him today. I was happy they re-signed him. I think it was no one saw that coming until he was available, and then I think all the fans were asking for him. And I know, Paul. I think you were a little lukewarm on the subject when we first signed him. I wasn't too crazy about it. Thought maybe he'd be another body out there.
For who?
Jamie
Collins. Jamie Collins.
Oh no, I that was an opposite. I said anytime you can add a guy to your team that knows what he's done. Yeah, I'm all for adding guys to the roster. Yeah,
I like that one.
I mean I don't think it's had a big impact, but I mean I'd rather have him out there than help me out.
Jelani Tavai.
Johnny, I'm
you know me so well. You knew exactly who I was talking about.
I saw the J on his tongue.
Johnny
Tavai.
I was just so impressed with that play today.
That was an amazing play. Yeah. Physical,
I didn't really notice him other than that play though.
I think he had a sack. Did he have a sack? I think he had.
The play before then, I think it was.
That was Christian the play. McCaffrey. He stopped McCaffrey for -3 on a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice little tackle.
I mean, he's been here over a month, and that's the first 2 plays I can remember, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he wasn't all over the place, but I think just to have a couple of those plays stand out there, and just it's nice seeing him back in the Patriots uniform. I think he does his best work for New England. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, Johnny, appreciate it.
Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
855-PATS-500.
Emails, webradio@patriots.com. Deuce is thrown off because I'm looking at him. It's just the way, would you want me to turn here and look at Paul a little bit?
I'm thrown off? No, you can stare at me all you want.
All right. Go back over here. Talk to Marcus in New Jersey here on the Postgame Show, which is presented by Cyber Reason, official defenders of the New England Patriots. What's up, Marcus?
Hi, how are you?
Excellent. What do you got for us?
Just one question.
Okay.
I am proud about the back-to-back wins, on the road. We're like road Warriors. Can we build on that going into Week 10 against the Falcons?
Oh, that's a good question, Marcus. Look, I'm hesitant to call them road warriors yet. However, they don't seem to be put off by playing away from Gillette Stadium, which makes sense because they only have the one win at home. But if you want to look ahead on the
4-0
schedule
on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, against 3 losing teams, but 4-0 was 4-0 on the road.
which is part of my hesitancy, Paul.
The Bills lost on the road to Jacksonville, so
Well, the saying "World Warriors," I can understand where you're coming at. I'm just saying, with this undefeated on the road.
Yep.
Right. Absolutely, Marcus. I'm with you.
Yeah, Marcus. And I tell you what, to maybe a bigger question, 3-4 weeks ago, we could not look at anything on the schedule and pencil in a win, which I still won't do. But once your team is above 500 and, you've put together a few wins in a row, I think it becomes okay, at the very least, it becomes okay to look at games down the list there and say, I feel good about them getting a win here. I feel good about them getting. I'm not penciling in a win. I'm not saying guarantee, but you start to feel differently about your team.
Absolutely, and that's why I made a comment a few weeks ago. Is like what they have to do before we can. It was when we were having all these conversations about they're better than a 2-4 team or this, that, the other thing. And I said, you know what? Win a game, and then find a way to beat a couple of teams that you're supposed to beat. Right? You're supposed to beat the Jets. You're supposed to beat the Panthers. In between, you had to find a way to beat a team that you felt would have been tough. The Chargers. They did that. If you can do that and get to 5-4, now we can start talking about these other things. We can start scoreboard watching, and we can start tabulating conference records and things like that. Now you're 5-4, as Mike said, for the first time since week 3 of last year, you're actually over 500. Now you can be a player. But I'm with Hardy. Like, I'm not penciling in a win over Cleveland. I'm not penciling in a win over Atlanta.
No.
Sorry, Atlanta.
No.
Atlanta.
But again, looking at this much differently now than we did, say, after week 4. You're 1-3, and you're like, oh boy, what are we doing? Now you
at 2-4, if you lost another game in the next week or two, it was over. And I know that you would say, like, well, if you were 4-5 right now instead of 5-4, you would say, no. I think it would be done. I think today was another must-win, and they won it.
Yeah. And now you're looking at a team with 3 wins in a row, 4 out of their last 5, and Cleveland put on a pretty dominant performance today.
Cleveland can play. Cleveland will not be an easy win next week, but I'm sorry. If you want to be a playoff team, you got to beat the Cleveland Browns at home without all the guys that they're missing.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly the kind of teams right in your same position, right in the same kind of area of the play. Like this is
5-4 team just like you.
You want to win at home against a team up and comer, especially, not to get ahead of us, but I look at a lot of this Patriots team as things kind of changed a little bit when Derrick Henry ran wild in the playoff game. And since then, they had the worst run defense in the league last year. They've been better this year. I wouldn't say that they're great at it, but I think this is the kind of team that's going to come in and challenge you in a way that has been a critical flaw for your team probably for the last year plus. So talk about a team that you have to play that's going to challenge you, your weakness, what you haven't been able to do. I think it's a great matchup, great chance for them.
CJ in Kansas City up next on the Patriots Postgame Show. Hi, CJ.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, CJ.
Great. I know it wasn't the prettiest, but always good to get a W. What are you guys' thoughts about this? I know it's into the peak week, and you guys talk about J.C. Jackson and re-signing him and things like that. I know that like the two picks, like one was a little bit better the first game.
I can't do it. Give us a call back, CJ. J.C. Jackson.
Talk about J.C. Jackson.
Yeah, all right. Well,
next year.
You know what? Let's just talk about him. Let's talk about J.C. Jackson.
Well, it's just a big,
strep throat. He had strep throat.
Oh, was that what it was?
That's what he said. He said in his post game that he had strep throat and he wasn't sure he was going to be able to play this week, and play he did.
Well, good for him.
Wasn't sure he was going to be able to play this week.
Let him sit out.
He said that? Really?
Okay. You want me to find?
No. I'm like sort of questioning him. Like, he practiced on Friday, went to Carolina on Saturday, and wasn't sure he was going to be able to play on Sunday?
Well, when was he not sure?
Okay.
Maybe Thursday.
J.C. Jackson missing practice due to an illness. Man, I was sick as bleep. I thought I was about to die. I had strep throat. I thought it was over. Said he didn't think he'd play.
That was over.
Maybe you know what? I'm going to give him. I'm going to give.
Sounds pretty serious.
Reading it word for word
Yeah.
like that, I'm going to give him some slack. I
Sounds like
think
a
he
hit with it.
I think he was probably when it happened.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Not like before the game.
Wednesday, he thought he wasn't going to play. Like when Hardy first said that to me, I was thinking he was saying like this morning he didn't think he was going to be able to play.
Yeah.
Which I'm calling BS on.
Well, I mean, good for him. We just talked about being able to take those COVID tests. I can't imagine getting strep and feeling like your throat's on fire and you've got a fever. I mean, that must have been scary enough for him. Imagine that it wasn't the COVID. Yeah. But I think the point was, the bigger point about his contract is his last year. He's playing on a restricted free agent deal this year after, being an undrafted rookie. And I think they got a decision to make, and it's a position that since really 2012, they really have signaled we need a talented guy. We need a shutdown top number one guy. They've shown us that time and time again. Revis, Gilmore going out and giving him a big deal for 4 years. How do they view J.C. Jackson? Is it the same way? Do they see him as that guy? Is he going to want more than they're willing to pay him? They don't have a ton of money next year. They got a lot of decisions to make on defense. So I think it's kind of a confluence of events there with J.C. Jackson. And I think the franchise tag could be on the table just to buy yourself another year with him. But even that's pretty pricey too. So it's going to be part of a big defensive offseason where a lot of decisions have to be made.
Let's go to
real quick. I just wanted we were talking about that.
Hold on, Steve. Just hold on for 1 second.
But you were talking about the Jamie Collins interception, right?
I'm telling Steve to hold on.
But
that's all.
You're saying it like I'm being persnickety.
Oh my God.
I didn't mean to.
God.
But Belichick in his opening remarks today, after the game, just said he was raving about that pick and said he doesn't think there was too many guys in the NFL that could make that play. Quote, 5 yards away from the quarterback, and he threw it as hard as he could. To your point, like you wanted to see
Collins.
Yes.
Yeah.
You wanted to see the side angle. I think that's what Bill's talking about, like how close he was to be able to jump and react that quickly and catch the ball.
Right.
It was a special play.
It was
crazy athlete.
Well, I see the game a lot like Bill does,
Yeah.
which is what people have said for years.
So now you're not mad at me for interrupting because I'm giving you all the credit in the world. I see how it works.
What do you care if I'm mad?
I don't want. I care a lot about what you think of me.
I don't.
Last week you compared me to Billy Jaffe, and it made my whole week because I think a lot of Billy Jaffe.
Okay.
Guess what Hardy said today?
I don't want Steve to be mad. That was my only point. Steve, now it's your turn. Thank you for holding.
Well, it's okay that Paul interrupted me. I guess I'll let that slide.
Smart.
I called in a couple weeks ago, and I mentioned all you guys by name except for Mike, and I just wanted to apologize for that.
Oh, I thank you. I remembered that. I was very hurt.
He's part of the,
I was hoping.
He's just part of the supporting cast.
I tried to find you on Twitter. I tried to direct message you on Twitter the day of, and I had a pit in my stomach that I just could not.
Oh, dude,
could not get rid of.
I don't stress. It's all good.
Well, anyway, I had 2 points. One was the J.C. Jackson. You guys kind of stole my thunder on, but when Gilmore made that interception, that really again gave me another pit in my stomach. But for him to come back and play better than Gilmore did, I just felt on a personal note good for him that he can prove that he could also be the number one corner on this team.
Who are we talking about?
And my second point was the penalties we took early. I do not see them getting better, and that really concerns me.
Yeah, I agree on that point with the sloppiness, and that's just been the feature that has continued, and something that again it's just is not. And I mean, as Paul said, people are complaining about the refs early on. It's like all those penalties had to be called. Like there was nothing that was a marginal.
Someone
call.
texted me and said, "Make sure the refs are on the bad list in this game." I'm like, you got called for delay a game and 2 false starts, in the first 10 plays of the game. That's nothing. The referee has to call those.
Yeah, and that's just and
like all of the subjective calls went against the Panthers. Like 2 guys fighting after the whistle, and they only call one guy for a penalty to move the Panthers from outside the red zone to the 31.
Right.
Like that's there was nothing about the referees today.
That's I think to the point is that it's self-inflicted wounds, and if you really want to be a playoff team, if you want to make the playoffs and compete, everybody who's a Patriot fan knows you can't make those kind of mistakes. You can't have that kind of start against a team that is better than Carolina, because that's going to get you beat.
And there were a couple of calls that they didn't make. There was one, Paul, who was the Patriot?
The 41-yard catch and run that had a flag on it that said, never mind.
No,
we'll pick that up.
okay, there's that one, but who was the Patriot who was lined up wide left?
Jacoby Myers was lined up in the neutral zone.
I was going to say in the neutral zone is like the nice way of putting it.
And I actually like that they don't call that, because I think that they give guys leeway on those both ways. And as long as they don't jump, like if they're a little bit too far up.
Well, they bring the ball back a little bit.
That was like it was the D Ford play from the famous play in the 18 AFC Championship game. And a lot of people were saying, for Kansas City, that happens all the time and they don't call it. I agree.
Right.
It happens all the time and they don't call it. Today it happened and they didn't call it.
Yeah. All right, let's continue with the phone. Oh, CJ is back on the line. Okay. CJ, are you in a better area now?
Yeah, so sorry about that, guys.
That's okay. What's up?
Yeah, so basically, just hearing the tail end of that part about J.C. Jackson, what Mike was saying, is kind of my point. But I was going to say he's obviously making plays. He's a playmaker. He's got the most picks, in the last 3 years out of any of the cornerbacks in the league. And I know that it's opportunity, but sometimes you just need a play, and he seems to be the guy making it. My opinion is you got to pay playmakers, right?
I'd let him walk in a blink. That's just me.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna really, really hit it big. I think someone's gonna pay him like he's Jalen Ramsey or Steph when he came here.
Yeah,
and he's not that.
And that's what I think you could use the example of the interceptions today as a little bit of a sample size. And I don't want this to be taken as bashing J.C. Jackson. I mean, I think he's an excellent corner. I just think that there's an elite level. And what you saw was Gilmore, who how many snaps has he played since last November? Just making a break, cutting the route out. I mean, JC is excellent at making plays on the ball, downfield, overthrow. That one went right to him. That's fine. But, I don't really see him making those plays where he's
a good player, JC.
He's running the route. And again, he's a very good player. I don't see them paying him. I don't see them seeing him as that guy that we need to overextend ourselves. There are other places where they need money. Now, that said, I don't know where the heck they're going to go find two starting corners next year.
And that's when if CJ wants to give me the follow-up, I have no answer for you, CJ. Yep. I don't know what the answer. I don't know where they turn.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
I don't know where they turn.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks, CJ. No, I'm the same way. It's like I didn't want Gilmore to get all the money that he was wanting, and Gilmore is an established entity. I mean, is there any doubt as to
Mike explained that the difference there? That is a different play. That's a takeaway as opposed to a giveaway. What Gilmore did on that route,
that's a good way to put it.
Getting underneath the coverage and cut it across right underneath, and just
knows what it's going to be.
Stealing the ball,
right?
Cerebral,
as opposed.
But you understand what I'm saying? Like I don't want the Patriots to spend the kind of money on an established, actual game-changing type of corner because it's so much money. I'm a simple man. I like simple pleasures. I like.
Oh boy!
A lot that pops in my mouth, and
I'm not gonna see. I would pay him if I thought he was
not going to do the rest of the Floyd.
Yeah, I'm trying to get you off that.
I can't wrap my head around defensively. I've seen too many other corners on this team specifically. The Malcolm Butlers of the world coming in make big plays, be serviceable in their positions, and they'll probably be good enough. Now, knowing full well that Tom Brady was leading the offense when you had the ball, and it's different, but it's tough for me, and I'm a simple guy.
Love it, Hardy. I think there's a lot of Malcolm Butler there. He's a good, solid player.
Yes.
If you can, I'm not telling you that J.C. Jackson's overrated. I think he's a good, solid player.
No, he's a starting.
Someone's going to pay him like he's a star, and he's not a star.
Okay.
And do you think Tennessee got their money's
worth from Malcolm Butler? If you ask Tennessee now, and he was fine.
He's fine.
He played fine for Tennessee. He played just like he did for us.
Nope.
But he's not worth high-end cornerback money, and I think someone's going to give him the same thing. Someone's going to do the who's Byron Jones. Someone's going to do the Byron Jones. Good, solid number 2, and someone's going to pay him like he's top-end number 1.
Let's go. Oh, sorry.
I just assume have it be someone else.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Dustin, it's not my money. I don't care, but I'm just telling you.
But the money does impact what you do with the rest of the team.
I'm not going to be fraudulent because there's so many ways to work around the cap. I don't care. You're not going to be impacted if you do it.
All right.
But I just don't think he's worth that money.
All right. Dustin in Ontario. What's up, Dustin?
Hey, fellas, enjoying the win?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
I'm still trying to get those 3 hours
just
back.
like another previous caller called in and said, it certainly wasn't a pretty win, to say the very least, but a win's a win in the NFL. You got to take it when you get it. I'm just going to quickly touch on a concern that I've had, sort of a nagging concern in regards to Mac Jones, his turnover issues. It seems to be an ongoing thing lately, whether it be picks or strip sacks, fumbles. Do you guys think that's a coachable thing that he can eventually get over, or is that just like a rookie thing, or is it something that he can improve with over time? Because going on with the schedule, next week we got the Browns, and they're a team on offense that can really hurt you if you put them in a position deep in your own zone if you end up fumbling or turning it over.
Yeah, it's I think the second one is an ill-advised throw. The first one, he gets smoked off the edge. He doesn't see him coming. So I think some of that's experience, knowing when that's going to happen, and other parts of that is protection and just getting more consistent protection off the edge, especially against arguably one of their best players. Giving him a free shot at the quarterback, I don't care who it is. That's going to end up as a fumble more times than not when you get smoked like that on the back. So it's all part of a progression. I mean, I will say I continue to like how Mac bounces back from things, but at a certain point here, we're going on a couple games now where there's been some inconsistencies with him that they're going to have to start to kick into gear and start to get back some of that magic that they had for a spell against the Jets. Paul mentioned a little bit of a slow start there too, with a little bit of inaccuracy. So,
and I forget what the numbers were, but his first half in that game
a little
was
off
like 50% completions.
Yeah, wasn't what we were
which
used
for
to.
where he throws the ball is way down.
Yeah,
I mean, if you guys could just like sort of off the top of your heads, or if you just want to look it up real quick, how many games has it been so far this season where Mac Jones has had at least a strip sack or a fumble?
Oh, pretty much every game. He's been involved in a turnover or potential turnover in virtually every game. I think,
and that's what I mean. It's not even like
I think last week
it's not even a rare occurrence. It's like a game by game thing. Like almost every game.
He's had either a fumble or a pick. I think in 7 out of the 9 games.
Right, and that's sort of what I was.
But that's what young quarterbacks do. Young quarterbacks take sacks. Like that's what happens.
I hear you.
Yeah. I understand the concern. But I kind of agree with Mike, too, that sometimes you're going to get a sack like this one that Burns gets that was showing right now. And he was just about, be one thing if he had the ball, but he's just about to throw it here, and that ball's coming out. If you get hit like that as you're trying to sort of unwind and uncork a ball, you're going to lose the ball. And he did. Mm-hmm. But to Dustin's point, think back to the Miami game. He's had a lot of fumbles that the Patriots have recovered.
Yeah.
I think he had one against Miami, one against the Jets. He actually recovered a fumble today, the Brandon Bolden fumble.
And you go back to training camp too. When we started talking about those seam passes, it seems like guys are starting to get their hands on those a little bit. It's concerning. I mean, it's a rookie quarterback, so you don't know exactly what are valid expectations and what are that's what rookies do. I think we're kind of in that land right now. They're playing winning football, which is nice, but. It has to kick into gear.
He stayed out of the way today. He did a good job of staying out of the way. He had a couple hiccups early, but they did enough offensively to, today.
Yeah, they overcame it.
Enough offensively today in light of the fact they didn't need any offense.
Right, but against the better teams in the league, if you're going to win a playoff game or, even get there, given the schedule that they've got, they have to be better. And I'm encouraged by the progress the defense has shown, but now it's kind of flipping things to the offensive side of the ball, and it's all right, this is – kind of getting ridiculous with the penalties, the pass protection issues, the turnovers. It's got to cease, or else they're going to continue to be up and down football team in 500 and probably on the outside of the playoffs.
All right, Dustin.
And that's why I called in with it, is because we're going up against Cleveland again next week, and they're a team that can really hurt you on the on
an interesting game
side of the ball.
Absolutely.
Turn it over.
Yep. Yeah. Myles Garrett, hello.
Thanks for the call, Justin.
And that was the key to their game today. The Bengals took the opening kick, went right down the field, had it in scoring position, and Denzel Ward had a 99-yard pick six. And the Browns were never in trouble really again.
Let's get to some emails here, shall we?
Shall we?
We got a couple few here. We got Joe in Houston who says his goods and bads. Goods, Miles Bryant.
Yep.
plays fast, makes tackles. Barmore, beast, enough said.
Totally agree.
Jamie Collins coming in his reserve role, showing speed in the linebacker unit. Today he was fantastic. I'm kind of
that pick was unbelievable.
I'm kind of with Paul. Like up until this point, I can't tell you much about Jamie Collins and his time here. Since he came back, but that pick today, it's just
special play.
Can't be overstated. Bads, Hightower missed sack and more. Williams can't capitalize and use his size to his advantage, and Isaiah Wynn.
Williams? Oh, Jawan Williams. What did he do?
Jawan.
Did he do anything?
I don't know. He can't capitalize and use his size.
But he didn't get called for it.
No.
So, but Isaiah Wynn, that was an issue. I mean, we watched it, once already here today on the sack and the fumble there. I mean, he didn't get beat. He's kind of like almost out of position.
Just looked like miscommunication, and it's hard on these plays. And you need like an offensive line guru to break down what the protection breakdown was exactly. But I don't think that Isaiah Wynn has had a great season by any stretch of the imagination. And coming off a time when they picked up his fifth-year option too, so you got him for another season as well. I think he's one of the guys that they continue to need more out of, and they almost got Matt killed today. I mean, it was another impactful play, which very well as easily could have been on all the offensive line or even Mac for not adjusting the protection, but still, it keeps happening, and it's got to stop.
That's why I keep making the comment about young quarterbacks take sacks.
Yeah.
It may have been that something like that may have been on the
it's just Isaiah Wynn was so far from the play too. The way that Hunter Henry blocked it, it didn't seem like he was even.
I think
had
someone
a chance.
messed up on that. Either Wynn or Henry, I think, made a mistake on that. But you do have to always take into consideration that sometimes pressure is going to come, and the quarterback needs to know where it's going to come from.
All right, we got a lot more emails to get to here, and we will do those and take more of your calls here. 855-PATS-500. This Patriots postgame show is presented by Cyber Reason. Great defenders don't just play on the field, they're also protecting your company and data. Cyber Reason is on a mission to end ransomware and keep your business undefeated against cyber attacks. Learn more at cyberreason.com/ransom.
TouchView Interactive is here to support your hybrid learning, distance learning, and video conferencing needs with easy-to-use tools that allow end users to collaborate, interact, and present seamlessly. TouchView Interactive offers a comprehensive line of accessories and software to support your audio-visual needs. Outfit your classrooms and presentation spaces with the future of interactive display technology. Visit touchview.com for more info. Offered by the Oakers Company, celebrating 100 years of service and support.
That looks awful. Football's back and it's time to go big. Pepsi pulled pork sandwiches are game day greatness. Now we're ready for game day. Check out some more awesome recipes on madeforpatriotswatching.com.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
That's great. And meanwhile, Mac's like, come on, I'm going to push him for 3 extra inches. Like, just settle down, rookie quarterback.
But I'm telling you, if you go
live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
They just said, here's Hardy, so I think you're supposed to talk.
Oh, okay. Patriots postgame show.
Talk now. Line.
Why don't you come over here, Brenda? Line.
Wherever liberty is threatened.
Patriots win today, 24-6 in Charlotte. That's where the stadium is.
Yes.
Charlotte, North Carolina. They beat the Panthers in front of many fans who were wearing Patriots
gear.
How
were the Patriot fans? I didn't see a lot of scuttlebutt about any Patriot
hear really
fanning
anything in that
there.
crowd today.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were just as unimpressed as we were with everything that happened in that game today, with the exception of Jamie Collins' pick.
Yeah.
That'd be the one memorable. You know what, Deuce? In 5 years, I'm going to say, you know, when we're down in Charlotte, the Jamie Collins game. I'll call it the Jamie Collins pick game.
I hope so.
By the way, the Revolution trail Inter Miami CF here at Gillette Stadium 1-0. They are in the 61st minute.
Got them right where they want them. Don't they always come from behind?
They do, but It's
a
nothing at
meaningless
stake.
game, no?
Nothing at stake other than
Pride.
points records, wins in the post shootout era, stuff like that. You
Pride
know?
goeth before the fall.
Okay, whatever. I'm just saying.
Oh my, blocked field goal. Hardy
Red
says
zone
those
Paul
never
chime in.
happened.
No.
So that 4th and 1 call. Yeah, I was just making a comment, Hardy. I don't know if you heard this.
I heard a little bit of it. You guys generally complaining about post game analysis from other people. And what is it about?
No.
It's about the coaching decisions.
It's not post game analysis. It's the wave of analytics, which I am largely in terms of the 4th downs in favor of, because I think that's much more exciting. I'd much rather watch a team go for it on 4th down than punt.
Yeah.
But Mike has it perfectly. Like the way they put it, like, oh no. That's absolutely the right call. 4th and 1 from your own 38, absolutely. You're giving your team the numbers suggest that you give your team a better chance to win if you go for it. And that's great that the next day there's a chart that comes out with all the best coaching decisions in the league last week. We get it every week, called a place called Edge Sports.
Yeah. Created simply if you make the decision.
Right.
Nothing to do with it successful or not.
Nothing to do with the
If you
situation
make
of the game.
it's right.
So Andy Reid just went for a 4th and 1 from his own side of the field. I think it was like his 38-yard line. Yeah, and tomorrow that'll be in the top 5 best coaching decisions made. They didn't get it, and they gave up a chance to give up points. Now, they ended up blocking the field goal, so they got away with it. And the Chargers did the same thing. They had a 4th and 2, and they went for it. And now here the Eagles are in Chargers territory in a 7-7 game. So I'm going to guarantee you that those 2 4th down decisions to go for it drew the applause of all of the analytics people out there. But that doesn't really do you any good if you can't execute it and get it, and then you put yourself in harm's way.
Right. No, I agree. Like, in terms of the decisions, whether right or wrong, there are so few of them. I think they're pretty much limited to like 1 and 2 point conversions. You know, at this point in the game, you have scored a touchdown, makes it 15-13 with 2 minutes left.
I'll give you a great
What do you
one.
do? You go for 2. That is the right decision. Right. I don't know how you can reasonably argue against it.
Right.
But to go for it on 4th and 1 and like at some random point in the game and to call that's the right decision, well, you didn't get it. Is it still the right decision?
Yeah.
You know, I'm with you. It is annoying.
And then you start getting into the territory like going when you're down multiple scores, going for the 2 first, right? Like that whole thing, which is even more confusing.
When you're down 14, it's now that's the right thing. You're down 14, you go for 2 if you get 1 touchdown. Because that way you give yourself a chance to win the game if you happen to get it. Because the analytics will tell you you're going to get 50% of them. Right?
If you say so, analytics.
So if you miss the first one, you're down 8, you're going to get the next one anyway. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't matter. Analytics tell you you're going to get 1 out of 2.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that the game is on the line, and if you don't get 2 yards, you lose.
Right, right. Let's talk to our friend Eldred in North Carolina. Eldred, what's up, buddy?
There it is.
Hey, fellas.
Do people ever swerve off the road when you do that, Eldred? I mean, do you scare people?
No, I've been driving for about 13 years. I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But that was a good game. A little lackluster at time, but I love the defense. And Hardy.
Yeah.
They did call the boogeyman out, and they showed little ghosts on Arnold or Darnold about Belichick's defense. They did do that.
Good Lord. Good Lord. Well, all right.
That was funny.
No, yeah, it is funny. I don't think Darnold should have been in there or should have stayed in the game. He was playing so poorly. I wondered.
See, I think I totally agree with you. I don't think he was right, but he was making bad throws. He wasn't misreading anything.
Yeah. I wondered at some point if they should have just taken him out and said, you know what? It's a little too soon.
Yeah.
It turns out you weren't ready to come back in yet.
Yeah.
I think there's a strong argument for that. I think so, too.
Yeah. And Paul said, too, pointed it out, he didn't really want to run much. And I think that affects his game. It takes you out of, if you know you can't run when it's a crutch, you're even being, game plan to do that. It takes you out of your happy place. And
tell Brady he can't run. Okay, that's fine. I don't run anyway. That's not going to change his game all that much.
Yeah.
Can I ask y'all one more question?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, Josh been doing this for years, but I can't understand how you can send a slot receiver on a fly route against some good slot corners that he has no speed to separate. I can't understand instead of using somebody else. And maybe that's where OBJ might come in at.
Is
somebody
he fast?
that can get over and beat the press.
You
or
think
somebody else better than OBJ? Yeah, because I just can't understand that. you know.
I would love to have it.
Aguilar is fast, and they sent him down the sideline, and he had no separation at all. Now, they call pass interference for some unknown reason, but I don't know.
No, Aguilar ain't that fast. I don't think. Well,
I think Aguilar's pretty fast.
I never could understand that. Well, I enjoyed the win.
Okay, Eldred.
I'll in North Carolina when I get home, and y'all have a good one.
All right, I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks. Be safe. No, Eldred said it. Good game. I enjoyed the defense. Let me immediately qualify when I say good game.
In all seriousness, you can't say enough about the defense today. I mean, I know who they played, and I know that Darnold was awful. But the Patriots defense, I'm telling you, they must have forced 10 or 12 1- or 2-yard runs, especially in the first half. Like, it was just It's 2nd and 10, 2nd and 9, every possession.
It's beyond stats. It's what I said at the top. It was just, you could just tell they were playing with that plus energy, and it was. It reminded me a little bit of how it looked in early 2019 when they just were overwhelming offenses. And, you know, you see even guys like Godshaw, Carl Davis, they kind of caught some flack this week for, you know, getting pushed around a little bit, but I thought those guys were excellent up front. You throw Barmore in there, Lawrence Guy. It's working right now, but, you know, I really am going to be excited to see how they match up against Cleveland, because that's a legit run game that is, you know, got two guys that can both, or three guys that can get at you.
Mayfield's not going to come out and light you up, but he can hurt you while they're running. Mm-hmm. It's not like today where McCaffrey can get something going and Darnold can't make you pay for it. There's a big difference there.
Oh, yeah.
I think that Cleveland offense has the capability of being pretty dangerous.
Oh, I think so, too. Let's take a look at this email here from George in Virginia, who says, guys, with the Bills struggling the past few weeks, how confident are you feeling about our chances in the division? Okay, well, let's just leave the rest of the schedule alone, except for the divisional games. You had 2 against Buffalo, you know, relatively late in the season, but the Buffalo has.
Hey, Buffalo couldn't have been any worse today than they were. I mean, to score 6 points against Jacksonville.
I don't
know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on with them, but
I'm going to call it a one-game thing until I see otherwise.
Do you start thinking about the division at this point as being?
I mean, you're only a game behind.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could, but I think that there's some big challenges in between now and then, and by the time you get there, if you start looking ahead, you're not even going to be pursuing it. You know, had you asked me this before, I would said there's really no chance. I think that Buffalo most likely is the number 1 seed in the AFC based on the ease of their schedule, and you know, I think the Patriots will. They always give people a hard time. I don't think they're going to get walked over, but you know, until I watch that game and really get a look at what the heck happened against Jacksonville, I have to lean towards Paul's side. But I have to say, I think the Patriots, if they could get one of those games against the Bills, that would really, you know, could probably put them over the top in terms of getting
I would think that they probably have to beat them both times to beat them in the division.
To be the division, yeah.
But I will say that you're only 1 game behind. So to dismiss the division is, I think, silly.
You can't.
They're only 1 game behind 9 weeks in.
And you got 2 games
and
against
you're talking
them.
about a team that just scored 6 points against Jacksonville today.
Right.
So
now,
you have to consider
in terms of what Buffalo is doing through 9 weeks, I'm going to consider today an aberration until I see what Kansas City's done. I considered Kansas City an aberration too.
Until
they did it 5 weeks in a row. Now that's what Kansas City is. Yeah. And, oh, by the way, they're struggling again today.
Yeah.
So if Buffalo, can't get rolling in the next couple of weeks, then, the division's very much in play.
I think it's, in some ways, maybe a good thing for Buffalo if you're looking just as a Buffalo person to say, you know, this is a team that they're kind of in a new position this year. All of a sudden, they knock off Kansas City. They're big dogs kind of. There's some pressure. Teams are getting up to play them now. They're not the plucky Bills that, oh, aren't they cute? They got kind of a good team this year. People expect them to be good, and I think that there's probably a little bit of a sea change in terms of, you know, their mental approach to things, and I think they need to recenter, but I also know that, you know, young team like that's good. They go to Jacksonville. They're like, oh man, you know, they want the big games. They want to play and prove who they are.
They weren't mature enough to win a game.
They weren't really mature, but they come into New England, or you know, when they get the Patriots there on Monday Night Football in a few weeks, they're going to be locked in, and I would fully expect the best from a very good team.
They have to, I really do think, because if they split and they're behind, that's going to make it tough.
Revs just tied it up, baby.
Sounds like we have a revolution score. I can hear
I just saw it on the TV.
I can hear the fans.
I'm having a hard time completing the post-game show over the Din of the Fans.
The Din of the Fans as Gustavo Bo finds the back of the net. The equalizer.
Tickles the twine.
The equalizer.
Are they looking at it for an offsides? That looks like offsides to me.
Shut up, Deuce.
What's offsides again?
Did it really? Was it? Oh, you just joking.
It might be. I think they're reviewing it.
Oh, no.
You're going to take a look. Let's take a look at the videotape.
All right.
Yeah, it's offsides.
While we're doing... Okay, fine.
Really? No goal, says Matt. Oh, wow.
Oh, boy.
Revolution Unfiltered.
I can't see the TV, so I can't offer you what I would normally... I would offer you Red Zone Revs, but I can't because I, A, don't know anything about the sport, and B, can't see the TV.
No, I'm surprised I just called an offsides there. I was impressed even myself.
We have an email here from Canberra, Australia. This is Daniel.
Lock? No.
As frustrating as it was to watch the offense, spelled with a C, the worst part for the viewers would be the constant errors of the broadcast team. Oh, this speaks right to Paul's heart.
Well, I'm sorry. I know I'm critical every week.
You are.
But Adam Archuleta said that Mac Jones' favorite target in the red zone has been Jacoby Myers. He has no career touchdowns.
Which is comical.
And he corrected himself.
Calling players by... Oh, he did.
He did later in the game.
He said from calling players by the wrong name, misreading stats on the screen.
J.C. Jackson was Justin Bethel on the pick six.
And they said on the production side, too, playing promos and missing snaps on the field. This many errors is probably an FCC violation.
No replays. There was...
Yeah, the Ramondre Stevenson injury never got a replay, too.
Yeah, just bad stuff.
Yeah, so
I mean, this is what happens when you become another...
This is what happens.
Just another team.
Patrick from Cape Cod, another one. Yeah, just first time writing in, just wanted to say the announcers made possibly the most mistakes I've ever heard on a broadcast. A few moments come to mind, like J.C. Jackson being called Justin Bethel on his pick six, Jacoby Myers as Mac Jones' favorite red zone target, announcers not noticing Brian Hoyer was in the game on the last drive until Carolina called a timeout, etc. I missed that last one. I was making my way back down here, but wow, yeah, that's brutal. That is brutal.
Right in the heart of Paul. I mean, his fans get him. As soon as he was complaining about that one, we got an immediate tweet tagging not only Paul but Andy too. They know what grinds the gears of our friend here.
Mr. T in Florida. I can only hope that this means we're going to get a Mr. T impersonation.
Pity the fool.
Please. Hello, Mr. T.
It's not Mr. T, but it's T. But good updates on the Revs. That's thrilling stuff. Thank you. But the question is, all these mental errors and penalties on offense mostly, do we think that's a coaching issue or do we think that's talent? We didn't have this with Dante.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. For the offensive line specifically. Okay.
Yeah. I would tell people to go back and watch some of those seasons.
Oh yeah,
we had this.
Okay.
Periodically, right. The thing that Dante could do is he could scheme around it and fix it. He could fix it, and we haven't seen, a permanent fix. Now, I thought it was better the last couple of weeks. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think
it seems like it. Sure.
There was some pop-ups though today.
I mean, to throw the ball 18 times today, they really didn't throw the ball at all, and they were under a significant amount of pressure when they were throwing it.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about the delay of game stuff when David Andrews was calling in, and you wisely, said, Hardy.
Always on the bads when the player
looks like
calls
Deshaun Jackson going to the Raiders, by the way.
Oh, all right.
I'll cross him off the list then.
Cross him off then. Stefan in Frankfurt is always emailing in. Good to hear from you, buddy. Seems like there's 2 to 3 delay of games penalty in these games. I don't know about 2 or 3 delay of games, but the delay of game thing has been prevalent this year. And coming out of timeouts or having to call a timeout in order to prevent a delay of game.
Yeah, they almost had another one. You're right.
Yep. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And thank you for pointing this out. Sometimes I don't see the forest for the trees. It's week 9. What are we doing with the delay of game?
Yeah.
Coming out of a commercial break. Explain to me, Paul, how it's possible. Aren't you? You take the field.
It's bad.
You should be waiting for the. Right. You should be waiting to snap the ball until the referee tells you it's
part of this
you
whole
can go
thing
now.
Where you're trying to disguise what your personnel is, and we're not going to put our guys out there so you can adjust. And I think it's It's inexcusable.
Is it adjusting for what they're seeing defensively that they didn't know was going to be there?
No, I think
also?
they're trying to dictate. So they're trying to get their whatever package they want on the field. They're trying to get against the wrong defensive package. So, as an example, like we're trying to get three receiver sets against their heavy run stopping package. Their base defense, right? Something like that.
Quick change.
And I think that they're trying to wait on the sideline as long as they can in those situations. Bad.
Yeah,
There's no excuse for getting a delay game penalty in that situation.
No, and I'm sure the rookie quarterback has some to do with some of these, but it's also, at a certain point early in the season, I kind of willing to forgive some of these kind of penalties and some of the general sloppiness, but, we're November now. So at a certain point, it becomes not, something we got to get cleaned up. It is who you are. And now as we get into the iron of the schedule against some good teams, you talk about Buffalo. This is the stuff that's going to get you beat as you get down the stretch and the good teams start playing better. So no question, it continues to be a big part of what they have to clean up. In some ways it's encouraging because these are self-inflicted, stupid mistakes that shouldn't happen, and you should say, all right, just as a bare minimum, we can get rid of this. But they haven't been able to. So at a certain point, it just becomes who you are, and I hope that it's not who they are, because if it is, I don't think they'll probably last very long.
They've been for 9 games.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yep.
I don't know if we mentioned franchise tag with J.C. Jackson.
Yep, we did.
Yeah.
Okay, Jack in Ann Arbor.
Deuce is all over that.
Yeah, as an option. But it's still
it's a huge number. It's got to be a huge number.
It's still probably more than they're willing to do, and not a lot of cap space next year. A lot of decisions to be made.
Would you be willing to do it if you because you're going to need to go out there and find one, probably two, for next year?
Yeah.
Would you be willing to bite that bullet for a 1-year Band-Aid?
It'd have to come at the expense of some other guys. I think you'd have to do some movement. You'd probably have to, figure something out with Shaq Mason. He's making a bunch of money. You might have to move him around. Jonathan Jones is another guy.
How does it work for J.C. Jackson? Does he have the ability to not play under the franchise tag if he thinks he's due his
big?
He
could hold out and not sign it. Yeah. But,
I think he'd sign it the first day.
Finances aside, it makes sense.
Well, yeah.
It's like
he can sign a big free agent contract, but he can make a big 1-year free agent contract and then do that again the next year.
Yeah,
right.
I kind of see him like Asante. That's what they did with Asante. It was, he's very good, homegrown, home developed. Maybe off the field attitude wise, not exactly the what you want, but they're willing to extend themselves one season, give him that deal, no commitment. Then you let him walk and you turn it over. Use Asante as an example then. What happened in 2008, 2009, 2010? These are really bad years for the Patriots secondary where they really struggled to find cornerbacks. And finally, 2012, they went out, all right, we got to get Talib. And from there on out, it's always been a concerted effort to make sure that position has someone very good in it.
Cody in Indiana says, Dear Santa, this year I would like a new left tackle, please. I've been a good boy all year, although if you disagree, I'd still be happy with a literal lump of coal to play instead of what we have now. P.S. Thanks for Hunter Henry. I know I asked for him a few years in a row, so I just wanted to say thanks. I really like him. Cody in Indiana.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about Barmore and just how impressive he's been. And Belichick talked about him a little bit in the postgame too. He said, I got to give that kid a lot of credit. He comes in early, stays late, works on his flexibility, his strength, his technique. He's really applied himself. He's done better and better every week. And that's one, sometimes when Bill says things that I don't necessarily see where he's coming from, I say it. This is one, it's obvious. It's obvious how well he's really come on. And I think Barmore has been a big part of what they've done.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned it already, Paul, but Murray in Dartmouth wants to know, when did you give the nod today?
The 14-6 touchdown at the end of the half. I just felt like the way that game was going, the Panthers weren't going to be able to get more than 14 points.
Murray
and I figured the Patriots weren't getting shut out the rest of the way.
Murray thought it was after the third interception. I'm like, no, it was
third interception.
It was before that.
The third interception was meaningless.
Interception. Oh.
Okay.
It was 24-6 on the third interception.
Paul was already planning the postgame show at that point.
I wanted to see if we could
forego the start.
I wanted to forego the fourth quarter. To be honest with you, I just want to wipe everything I saw today out of my memory. It was just football from some high school game in 1982.
Chris has a very Hawaii type of attitude on this one. It's like, hey guys, Granted, he's no James White, but are we ready to stop dogging on Bolden yet?
A little bit.
He's shown week after week that he is a reliable piece of the offense. Chris in Honolulu. I'm with you, Chris.
He's been pretty good the last couple of weeks. We should give him some credit. I mean, he's come through in some spots. I don't think they're leaning on him heavily, but I think in the few opportunities that they gave him today, a couple third downs, catch that he had, he's done a good job. I mean, Josh singing his praises this week. I mean, the thing that's hard is he's such a likable guy. He's such a good guy. He's so loved in the locker room, and just, every time he talks, he's hilarious. He had a Homie the Clown T-shirt on this week talking about none of the young guys know who Homie the Clown is, which is funny. But I think he's done a good job. I mean, my biggest thing with Bolden has just always been that he can't really break tackles. He's not really dynamic. He'll get what's there, and that's about it. He's not going to make anybody miss. And I think what you've seen in the last couple of weeks here, he's outrunning somebody. He's kind of getting the first down. So I think he's been effective in spots. But that said, I think what Ramondre Stevenson kind of showed today with some of his catches out of the backfield, that maybe he could be a little bit more of a weapon in the passing game. I don't know if he's ready for that third down role where they really seem to want to trust Bolden for his responsibilities in terms of pass protection and picking up the right guys. And with the mistakes that we've had from the offensive line, the miscommunications, you can't really fault him for valuing that. At least having a running back in the back that you can. Maybe to clean up some mistakes. If you had a rookie back there, Stevenson, it might be asking a lot. So, you got to give Bolden some credit. He's been a part of these wins, and he's a great guy, and he's been around for a while, so he certainly deserves the shot.
Yeah, I've never been one of these pile on Brandon Bolden type of guys. I get that he, has been underwhelming through large stretches, but if you take the last few weeks. Yes, he's been a reliable and important part of the offense.
And I've never been a pile-on Brandon Bolden guy either. I think he gets too many touches. That's all I'm saying. I think Brandon Bolden has been a more than serviceable part of the team for a decade.
Ricky in Norwich, UK says, Ricky. Also, since my first son was born, newest Pats fan, we haven't lost a game. Huh? So I'll do my bit to ensure an undefeated season next year. Foist. May your foist child be a masculine child.
That was pretty good.
Don Corleone.
That's pretty good.
I'm going to leave you now because I know you are busy.
That's pretty good. That's a good Luca Brasi.
That's kind of the I'll take it off the air Godfather version. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to hang up now. I know you have many questions.
The day of your daughter's wedding day.
For your father.
Oh, Bobby O from Rhode Island, Maine,
Bobby O.
Brooklyn. Yeah, maybe. Lots of mental errors that seem to be things that they have been doing without much improvement over the year. Is it coaching or limits of the players? If it's the players, which would you say are important players for us that just can't clean up the mistakes? In my opinion, number one, Isaiah Wynn.
Yeah.
Well,
I just don't see mental mistakes as lack of talent. It's just two different things. I mean, I get what you're trying to criticize but I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. It's just troubling, and I point at least to a part of it of just having a rookie quarterback under center, and he's the one who the show goes through. And if they want to pull all these little tricks and stuff of trying to get personnel matchups, they just have to be cognizant that they've got a rookie quarterback who needs a little extra time to make it happen. And usually they've been great at adjusting and playing to his strengths and, trying to make it manageable for him. But these kind of things continue to happen. And like I said, they're running on borrowed time with the win streak and these mistakes because the good teams are going to make them pay for it.
Let's go to Craig in Tennessee on the Patriots Postgame Show presented by Cyber Reason. What's up, Craig?
Doing good, guys. Happy for the win. I might as well just say this right off the bat. Very good game. It was sloppy in the first half, but then Patriots really pick up on certain things towards the final half of the game, which I'm very happy for. But one of the most underrated players, in my opinion, has to be Damian Harris, if I can just skip on to him. He's such a warrior on and off the field. And I have to say, he is one of those players that, has just progressed over the season where he, can get on and off the field on multiple injuries and he just strives to do better. And that's what I like seeing out of Damian Harris, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lot to like about him. And like I said, I think it helps if they can get Stevenson and show some trust in him and some continued performance from him. It's going to help Damian Harris. That's what I worried most about him the last few weeks. It's just the running him into the ground. He continues to get banged up, but fight through it. So it's a lot to be impressed of. I mean, not the greatest game for him today, but overall, I think he's had a really solid season.
More emails to get to, and time for your calls. 855-PATS-500. Stay with us as we continue this Patriots postgame show presented by Cyber Reason. And we thank Bose, as always. They are proud to be the official sound and official headphones of the New England Patriots and the NFL. Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds rule the quiet. Learn more at Bose.com.
TouchView Interactive is here to support your hybrid learning, distance learning, and video conferencing needs with easy-to-use tools that allow end users to collaborate, interact, and present seamlessly. TouchView Interactive offers a comprehensive line of accessories and software to support your audio-visual needs. Outfit your classrooms and presentation spaces with the future of interactive display technology. Visit touchview.com for more info. Offered by the Oakers Company, celebrating 100 years of service and support.
That looks awful. Football's back and it's time to go big. Pepsi pulled pork sandwiches are game day greatness. Now we're ready for game day. Check out some more awesome recipes on madeforpatriotswatching.com.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
You didn't shush me.
I was agreeing
so
with
that's
you.
I take that as agreeing.
We don't shush at chaos.
Shush.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Things were getting noisy out there. I thought maybe the Revs scored.
Is it still 1-0?
It is still 1-0.
I'm sorry. Is it still 1-0?
It is. They had a couple of good chances there. Before we get to Bill in San Diego, Travis in Seattle says, I got to say it warms my heart at how negative the tone is after an 18-point win. Considering we're only a few weeks away from cherishing that win over Houston, this feels great. Bills lose to the Jags. Patriot blowout win feels like a loss. Jets are in quarterback disarray. Feels like home this fine Sunday. That's Travis in Seattle.
I would just ask Travis what show he's listening to, because we're talking about the Bills are suddenly vulnerable and you can get in the division race.
No,
we're talking about Cincinnati losing 2 in a row. We're talking about the Raiders losing a game to an NFC team. The Derrick Henry injury, I think, is completely transformed the outlook in the AFC. Like, I just wonder what post-game show he's listening to.
I think he is commenting on, us pointing out, which is what we do in every game, unless it is there's nothing bad to talk about, and there are very few of those games. You focus in on the things that need improvement.
Well, today there's a lot bad to talk about with the Patriots game, but the bottom line is you've won 3 in a row. As Mike said, you're over 500 for the first time since week 3 of last year. And you're right smack dab in the middle of the playoff hunt.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be balanced, and
but you turn the ball over twice. You have 4 penalties in the first 10 snaps
and that's
of the
the
game.
reality of it. You really, what do you want? Do you want to be a playoff team? Do you want to be a team that competes with the best teams in the NFL? Then that's what we're looking for, and that's what we're looking for out of the offense. And it's just a non-starter when you have 2 giveaways, and you're having penalties and that are self-inflicted. It's just that stuff is bad football, and I think that should always be pointed out and critical of. But I mean, the defense today it was excellent. I don't think it was an overwhelming challenge against a banged up Panthers offense, but I think that they've continued to get better, and a lot of those guys are really starting to show something, which is exciting. I mean, how can you not be excited about offensively? You've got a first-round rookie quarterback. Defensively, you've got a second-round defensive tackle who's been all over the place. So, I mean, 2 big pieces. Look at where you were the last couple years talking about post-Brady, rebuilding, trying to get back to the top. Well, it seems like last draft at least you got a couple significant parts of it, but there's a long way to go. There's a lot to pick, a lot to clean up, and that's what we want. That's the standard I'm going to hold them to and continue to.
All right. Let's go to San Diego. That's where Bill is. Bill, thanks for joining us here on the Patriots Postgame Show. What's up?
Thanks, guys. It was a great win. Along your draft line of how we've done this year, I had to look for the 5th straight week to see if Josh Uche actually played. Apparently he did. Is he being put in the wrong position, or does he just stink? Because I thought a lot more was expected out of him this year. And again, I have to look in the box score to see if he even played week in and week out.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think unfortunately he got really pumped up this summer as as being an athletic guy, and I think he's in some ways like Gunner. When there's not a lot going on and you're just watching him on the field, it's like this guy's a specimen. He's fast. He looks like he knows what he's doing, but look at what he was in college. He was a specialty pass rusher, and he got into the NFL. It was a question of, is he going to play inside linebacker? Or is he going to have a 3-down role? And I think what you've seen so far is that he's a pass rusher, and that's kind of what they're using him for. And he's not as effective as Barmore and Judon have been, and they're playing basically all 3 downs. So I think that's why he's gotten lost in the mix. But I don't think, Paul, Eric, Fred, we all watched all those practices, and sometimes we get off and people were, all aboard the Josh Uche hype train. And I think we were a little bit more measured about that, not knowing what his role was going to be and how much of a chance he was going to have to shine. And you're seeing it now. He kind of gets out there in 3rd down, and that's it.
I love Mike's point about that, because I do think during the summer there was a tremendous amount of interest, intrigue in Josh Uche. And I think the situation with that was exactly as Mike described it. Like, he shows some athleticism. He shows some ability. This looks like an incomplete pass.
This looks like an incomplete pass in the Chiefs-Packers game.
Yeah. Oh, no,
That's incomplete.
He never even caught it.
It's incomplete.
Not even close.
And they
called it a fumble. Like, he never has the ball. He's bobbling it the entire time.
Yeah.
But I think that Mike makes a really good point about that, because there were days, Hardy, where the Patriots, sometimes not even in pads, where the offensive line, physically is not allowed to block. And Josh Uche was being credited with 2,
He's unblockable.
2, 3, 4 sacks. Not only you can't actually get to the quarterback, but no one's allowed to block you from getting in the backfield. And they're crediting him with multiple sacks. And Mike is right. Some people were considering it unblockable. Yes, you're right. He's unblockable. By definition, there's nobody wearing pads.
Yes, you're not allowed to block.
So I don't want to say that Josh Uche has been a disappointment, because I don't know exactly what you might have thought, the expectations were. But I do think some of that hype in training camp has created expectations. I want to see more of Josh Uche. I've been saying that for weeks.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him get a chance to play on 3 downs to see if he's better than some of the guys that play, like Van Noy.
Yeah,
as a specific example. But, I think that some people thought he was going to be this 15-sack guy based on training camp.
Yeah, and I think part of it, too, that hurt him was some of his teammates talking about him, how he can play any position on the defense, and, you could put him at nose, and it's like, well, can we just find a position that he's good at and just let him play that instead of
show me his best position and leave him there, and let me see how that looks.
Yeah, so I think they've I don't want to say they've been lucky, because they've been playing Hightower and Van Noy, and they've been somewhat the sacrificial lambs at times, but they've been giving them performances that they like, and it hasn't really opened a door for Uche. I think if one of those guys got hurt, it might get a little bit interesting with elevating his play time, especially with Winovich out. I mean, it's just he's been quiet. I think even regardless, I think he needs to probably do more in some of those situations.
Jim in Florida on the Patriots Postgame Show, presented by Cyber Reason. Hi, Jim.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, Jim.
Get my earphones off, sorry. I've been listening to this show, first-time caller, and a long-time listener, way beyond the show and way back. So
listen to the show before it was even on. That is impressive.
Yeah, well, sorry.
That's all right.
That just says I'm a little bit older.
Yeah.
But here's what I got. Paul?
Sir?
You're a naysayer, and that's fine. That's your role, and I get it. You're able to argue every side of every argument. Mike?
Yeah.
I love you. I like you, but you're starting to sound a little like Chicken Little, where nothing is good. Everything is bad. I don't know.
Fire everybody.
Hardy?
Yeah.
If this were Andy and Mayberry, you'd be Barney Fife.
Jim, fantastic call. From the part where you said you've been listening to the show before the show was on the air to your playful jabs at each of the hosts, call back anytime. Let's go to Liam in North Carolina. Liam, you're on the Patriots Postgame show presented by Cyberism. Do better than that. I dare you.
I didn't hear what he called.
It's been a long time since I called in the postgame
Barney
show.
Fife.
No, sorry.
I watching the game tonight. I was thinking, do the Patriots look better than their record shows, worse than their record shows, or are they playing up to what their record is tonight?
Okay. So this.
I think they've played to their record.
I think they played to their record, and I think if you looked at, if you want to go to statistics, I think that will bear it out that they're, a middle of the pack team. I think they're on the rise. Can they get into that upper echelon? Though is the question.
I would give it a win either way. I'd say I think they are a perfect 5-4 team. I gotta hang up on you there, Liam. You're starting to break up a little bit. I think they're a perfect 5-4 team. I would hear arguments on they could be 6-3 or 4-5, but that's it. Don't tell me how this team is just a couple of snaps away from being 8-1 in the season. Because
They're a couple of snaps away
believe.
from 2 more wins, and they're a couple of snaps away from 2 more losses.
Right. I'll give you one either way after 9 games, but that's it. I think 5-4 is right where they belong.
Today in the Jets game were wins that could not have gone anyway, other than the Patriots winning.
Correct.
The Saints game, to me, was a game that wasn't going to go any way other than the Saints winning. All the rest of the games, I think, could have gone either way. The Cowboys, the Dolphins, the Cowboys, and the Bucks absolutely could have been wins.
Sure.
Any or all of them could have been wins. I think the Texans and really the first Jets game, I know the first Jets game ended up 25-9 or whatever, or 6 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But that was just a comedy of errors. When the Jets were moving the ball, and they would do something stupid.
Yeah. I mean, those things aside, I think they're a tough, competitive, hard-fought football team. There's a lot of things that the usual Patriots teams you've come to expect, and the last caller, Sam Chicken Little, it's about the turnovers and the mistakes. That's what bums me out with this team right now. Is just that they can't stop making the mistakes, and that
I agree.
That's just something that I will not accept as part of what is going to exist around here. They need to clean that stuff up.
Well, Vince Lombardi down in Florida there, thinks that would... No, what? The guy was a jerk.
They like to make fun of us. What do you take it personally for?
Because the guy was being a jerk to everybody. And tell me what... If anybody is negative on the show, Deuce is the
Mike.
It ain't Mike. He's not Chicken Little. They're 5-4, and the offense didn't look good today. You want us to sit here and lie? Let's just sit here and say everything is great. No, it's
I think we spent an hour and 45 minutes instead of talking about how the offense looked. We were talking about how the defense looked.
And
jokes, if we were Chicken Little, we'd be talking about just the offense.
Yeah, and joke's on you. Barney Fife is one of the great television characters of all time. It's fantastic. You just named my favorite TV show of all time, so I take that as a compliment.
I'm not even mad.
Bryce in Marlboro. What's up, Bryce?
What's up, guys?
Hey, Bryce.
So I just think it's just makes sense to bring in Odell. I just don't see how it wouldn't work at this point. You're lacking in a wide receiver, and that's the spark that could push you into the playoffs.
If he's still the same guy and he wants to play ball,
Even if he's not the same guy, you're telling me he's better than a guy who scored no touchdowns all season?
I don't think he's better.
It's just
I personally do not think right now he's better than the top 3 receivers the Patriots have. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
you don't think he's... Oh, my God. That's wild.
He has 17 catches.
We're talking this season in the dysfunction of the Cleveland that's been his 3 years there.
Okay,
well, the dysfunction of Cleveland was an 11-win team that won a playoff game last year and is now 5-4, which is the same record you have. That's the dysfunction is Cleveland.
So just because one guy doesn't click with one quarterback over his career, I don't think he's done.
They didn't want him in New York either.
I just want to say this. I am not claiming that I'm right. This is my opinion.
I understand.
I've watched the last 3 years of Odell Beckham Jr., and I don't think that he's any better than the 3 guys the Patriots have. The guy at
So
the
if
Giants
we
that was
twist it,
catching
he's a
like
Bill Belichick
90 passes
disciple.
for 1,500 yards, that guy was light years better. He hasn't done that for a long time, and people don't understand it. People think he's still that guy.
Under Baker Mayfield. That's literally the only one.
What are you talking about? Why did the Giants get rid of him? They couldn't wait to get rid of
Did
him.
he have 1,000 yards the first year with Cleveland and the last year with New York? I believe he did. I think that's better than anybody on the Pats.
Okay, but you're not getting that version of him. You're getting the 2021 version of him.
You have to go back to
He's a
2019.
Bill Belichick disciple who loves
You
him.
have to go back to
You don't think
2019
anybody
for him
else
to be
would buy it?
effective. You realize that, right?
What?
After his last 1,000-yard season that you're talking about, that was 2019. 2019. He has a total of 40 catches since. What does that have to do with anything? If he plays, he's not productive. He's dropping passes.
Again,
30.
If you're matching him as unproductive with one quarterback for 2 seasons, I don't understand why the guy couldn't have a bounce back.
See,
after
but you think that I'm just talking about this like rift with Baker Mayfield. This has nothing to do with anything off the field. He's been riddled with injuries and doesn't run the way he used to run.
So the rift off of the field, you don't think counteracts the production on the field?
No,
I don't think it has a lot to do with it. I think
again,
guys.
Bryce, I just want to repeat.
That has everything to do
Listen,
with it. The guy didn't like him.
That's your opinion. My opinion is he tore his ACL and can't run anymore.
The NFL, that's not my opinion.
No, that is your opinion because you don't know why he can't get open anymore. You think it's because of a rift. I think it's because he can't run. See what you see? Like we have a disconnect.
Anybody on your team?
What?
Like that's nuts. Even not at 100%, he's still better than anybody else.
Okay,
I
then
don't understand, like,
listen.
the reason
Listen,
for
Bryce.
for
It
New
sounds
England
like
not to
you're
get
going to
it.
be
Makes
right.
no sense.
It sounds like Bill's going to bring him in, based on the Adam Schefters of the world and a lot of the national writers. It sounds like you're going to be right, and they're going to bring him in. We'll see. We'll see. He has 17 catches. Last year, he had 23. Even his last 1,000-yard year, he had 74 catches in 133 targets.
So how many?
So he's
passes
basically a
to him
50%.
has he had? How many times has Baker actually thrown it to him? Let's go to that.
43 and 34 the last 2 years.
So not.
So
many
he's a
times during the
50% guy.
I think
He catches every other time they throw it to him. He catches it.
I has a high probability that he's productive with us. I don't understand why it's like everybody doubts him and is so hated. What are your other options? Like,
what are your other
I don't
options?
understand it.
I mean, did they not just win their last 3 games in a row? That's your other option, is to keep it going.
Eventually, you're going to have to pass the ball.
I agree that the passing game needs work, Bryce.
I don't know why you're laughing so sarcastically, like I'll be the first to admit I don't know what's going to happen if Odell Beckham changes teams. I'll be the first one to admit I can't see the future. Evidently, Bryce can, because he hasn't done anything in 2.5 years. But Bryce knows that everything will change.
Whether it's better for the team or worse for the team. What do you think it is, buddy?
I think it's worse. I've stated my case.
So what do they do? Just cut them afterwards? Who cares?
Because you make yourself worse in the meantime.
Right.
That's why.
You cost yourself time in development in games.
By trying to get better.
Yes, by trying to get better and taking away reps from other guys that are
So
improving.
let me ask you: was Mohamed Sanu, was that a good move? Did that make the team better or worse?
As a personnel standpoint, with personality, he had to do something.
Did it
With
work?
Tom Brady on the fritz.
So did they get better or worse?
He had to do something.
Did they get better or worse for trying to bring in a better player?
Better.
No, they got worse.
They got worse.
They got worse. They went 4-5 in the 9 games that he was part of the team.
So you're supposed to not try because you might not get better?
No. I want you to do things that will make you better.
That makes no sense, dude.
No,
First of all, I'm not your dude. Okay, but just because you think it's making you better doesn't mean it will. I want them to do things that will make them better. I don't think that will. I think I was going to use a word that I know people don't like. I think he's a problem for the teams that he's on, and I think he'll be a problem for Mac Jones because he can't run anymore. He doesn't get open. Now, maybe there are people that are telling me he's working his way back from his ACL and it's coming back. If that's the case, it was Marcus, right?
Yes.
I'm with Marcus. If that's the case and these guys are right, I don't watch Cleveland every game. Maybe some of that explosiveness is coming back. He's a year removed from a torn ACL. Oftentimes it takes a long time. So I'm willing to take the shot if Marcus is right and he can get his explosiveness back. But I'm skeptical. I don't think it's going to come back. I think that once guys lose their legs, they start dropping passes, they're done. And for the last 3 years, he's basically been a 50-50 prop when you throw him the ball.
Yeah.
I want better than that.
I'm skeptical of
I don't want to flip a coin when I throw a pass to a guy.
I understand, and I'm also skeptical of anyone who says, well, the reason why hasn't been as productive is because there's a personality difference between him and the quarterback, a couple of players. There are guys in every locker room in the league who don't like each other that figure out a way to make it work for 60 minutes every Sunday.
And listen, Marcus might be 1,000% in the right, and he might have this. And I'll sit there. I'll tell you 2 months from now, I'll say, listen, I wasn't in favor of it, but it worked. It worked. Bingo. It worked. I don't have any problem with telling you I'm wrong after the fact.
All right. Well, things got excited at the end of the show. That was good.
You would have been bogged down with press conferences. I mean, someone yelled at you. You got a little persnickety with the Barney Fife comment.
He didn't yell. I just thought
he called you Barney Fife. You didn't like it.
I thought he was
a
jerk.
The guy was funny.
I thought he was a jerk to all of us.
I thought Marcus was funny too. I just don't like being called dude. That's like my son
or buddy.
My son gives me the dude, and I want to put his head right through the wall.
Oh boy. Well, that's going to put a wrap on the Patriots Postgame show presented by Cyber Reason. I'd like to thank David Andrews for joining us on the show today. That was fun. What?
Okay.
What?
I was pointing to something.
Oh, you want to go to Brian? Something? I don't know. Matt was telling me to wrap. Okay. All right. We'll take one last call here. Brian, Southern California. What's up, Brian? Oh, Bree.
Hey,
that's not not how I would spell Bree. B-R-I. How do you spell your name, Bree?
B-R-I-E, actually. It's fine, though.
Like Larson.
I'll make this quick. Yeah, I missed the beginning of the show, so I'm sure you guys touched on it or elaborated on it. I mean, I'm glad about the win. I just a little concerned about Mac, like his confidence on these last two games. He just looked kind of bummed walking off the field. Just, I'm curious if this is just something, he's a rookie, and so we were like really lucky for him to not be having these issues for the last few games, or if you think a lot of it has to do with our O-line.
I think it's
curious.
Bree. Just me personally, I think it's two things. Number one, I think he's been hard on himself since camp. I think that's who he is. Number one. Number two, I think it's you put yourself in an awkward position as a player on a team when your team wins, and you know in your heart you didn't have a lot to do with that win. And that's probably the way Mac has felt after the last couple of games.
Probably a good summation.
Yeah. So that's all. That's what I think that is. So there you go.
All right, makes sense.
All right, Bree.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Everybody good?
Great.
I'm good.
Okay. Matt, you good? All right. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us here on the Patriots Postgame Show. And your calls and your emails and David Andrews. It was a great time. We're going to do it again next week. We're going to do it here at Gillette Stadium as the Browns come to town for another 1 o'clock affair. So I hope you'll join us then for the pregame show. Your final score for the final time, Carolina Panthers 6, Patriots 24. They moved to 5-4 on the season. Thanks for listening and watching.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.